Obviously, EVs have made a big impact over the last few years, and there are little signs of letting up. One important element to these vehicles is obviously charging. So, like the gasoline industry that had to grow and develop as internal combustion engines developed, EV charging technology and infrastructure is also evolving to meet the needs of the growing fleet of vehicles. Interestingly, while reading about this topic, the story of Miller Electric's Innovation Design Center came up. Miller Electric is a nationwide electrical contractor based in Jacksonville, and they created this unique project, and I had to learn more. So I invited Kerri Stewart, Miller EV Solutions Chief Strategy Officer and President, to come in and share a bit more about the lessons they've learned working on this project. Kerri, as I said, is the Chief Strategy Officer for Miller Electric, and she collaborates across the company to optimize data utilization and enhance business and customer outcomes. Furthermore, she had Miller Electric's Vehicle Solutions Group, focusing on national expansion and maintaining its leadership in North American EV solutions. Kerri's extensive career includes roles like Chief Customer Officer for JEA and Chief Administrative Officer for the City of Jacksonville. She's demonstrated a strong commitment to public service and effective leadership. She holds a BBA from the University of North Florida and a Business Analytics Certificate from Harvard University. Welcome to Keeping the Lights On. I'm your host, Todd Reed, and on this show, I connect the owners and pros who design, build, and maintain our electrical, communications, and industrial world to explore the best ways forward. Let's get into the show. So, as you know, we start each episode, Kerri, with the meals that bring us together.
Yes.
And so if I were to visit you in your area, where might you take me or the listeners, and why would you choose this place?
So I've been thinking about this question a lot, and I think I would take you or the listeners to a restaurant called River and Post. And it is a locally owned restaurant. They actually have two of them, but the one that I would take you to is closer to our office. And it's just basic American fare, but they have a rooftop bar that overlooks our gorgeous river. All the food's made from scratch. It's just a really fantastic atmosphere and really, really good food.
Well, what would you get there or recommend someone get there?
If we were having lunch together, I would get the steak salad. It sounds really basic, but it is really basic. But if you get a good steak with very little, accompaniments with it, it's a very good salad. So if we were having lunch, it would be the steak salad. If we were having dinner, I would get whatever the chef's fish special was that evening.
So I did a little looking about River and Post, and I'll tell you what comes up all the time is the rooftop seating, just like you said. And the pictures, of course, are beautiful because, they pick the best ones and everything looks great. But when I see that, I could imagine, usually it's sunset pictures, right? Because those are really pretty. The colors are always amazing. But I can imagine being there in that picture and with that great Jacksonville sunshine, and nowadays when I think of sunshine, I can't help but think of renewables, which includes electric vehicles and all the technology surrounding them, including battery and solar technology. But now I got to be honest. I don't normally think of electrical contractors as innovating in the EV space. It's usually I think of manufacturers or battery, or charging companies. I see like people like Miller Electric who you work with. Construction tech is important, and kind of other related fields. So I'm curious. Can you tell me briefly about the Electric Vehicle Innovation Design Center, or EVIDC?
Yes. So we've created this amazing space in our parking lot at our headquarters office in Jacksonville, Florida. And within that, we have 8 level 3 chargers. And for your listeners, those are the fast chargers that the federal government is trying to incent and put all around the United States to reduce range anxiety, increase electric vehicle ownership. So we have 8 of those, 8 different manufacturers, and we have 7 level 2s. Those are the slower destination chargers that probably most of your listeners have seen over the last decade. They're the smaller ones. They're at the Starbucks. They're at your bank. You might have one in your house if you own an EV. So also 7 different manufacturers there. We've created this to do a lot of things, but one of the things that we wanted to do is really understand the hardware and then the software that manages it. How can we network these? Which of the chargers work the best? Which of the software works the best for the needs of our customers? We really segment our EV customers into 5 different customer segments. One is destination charging. That's for the level twos I just talked about, the slower chargers. These are customers that are trying to attract and retain employees, customers, or tenants, right? So think big corporate office space. We have electric vehicle and autonomous vehicle manufacturers. They're really getting into the space, and they need a lot of help, mostly on the consultative side, about what to do for charging. They're manufacturing cars or vehicles, and then in the space of autonomous vehicles. And so charging solutions are foreign to them. Then we have charging as a service, and what's really being deployed now nationwide and actually North American wide, and that's the fast charging for return on investment. And we have fleet conversions, which is pretty simple to understand. These are bus fleets. This is big box trucks, last mile delivery kind of fleet conversions. And then last, but certainly not least, is service. One of the biggest issues nationally and probably worldwide are these chargers that have been deployed the last decade or so are simply in varying states of disrepair. And I intentionally use disrepair and not repair. And so service, whether it's on site or remote, really getting into and understanding how these ecosystems work between the hardware that is the charging unit, the software that manages it, how they are networked, how they interact with the grid, really trying to get an understanding of that. So that was a big mouthful, but we've got these 5 segments that all want something completely different from a charging need perspective. And we want to be able to help them get to what they need and not what somebody has just tried to sell them.
So I'm curious, what inspired, Miller Electric to even start this project and kind of pursue this?
We found there was just a huge vacuum or vacuums in this whole process. As you just described, electrical contractors, we're electrical and technology contractor, and we come in after the customer's made the decision. We install it. We hope to maintain it for the life of that asset and have a really long relationship with that customer because we've done such a good job. But that's really it. That's electrical contracting in a nutshell. What we found in the EV space, though, is that our customers don't know what they don't know. They don't know a lot of times why they're making the decisions, or that why they're making the decisions could and should determine the kind of solution that they are seeking. And so after 2 or 3 years really intently focusing on this market, we found that all of these different customer segments I just talked to you about, that they don't know what they don't know. And so we came together with several of our partners, Graybar being one huge one on this, to put together this design center. So it's a design and innovation center. And for customers, manufacturers, partners like Graybar to be able to come to the site to take a look at how much space these are really going to take up in your parking lot. How much energy are you really going to need for the grid from your local utility to provide enough energy for these charging stations? How well do they work? How well do your customers like them? This is open to the public. I did not mention that earlier, Todd. This design center is open to the public 24/7. And so we are monitoring it, collecting data. And interestingly, what we have found is we have cameras on it 24/7 too. So you have to send your listeners to millerev.com, and we actually have live 24/7 cameras, and watching customers come in, try to charge and leave, get very frustrated. They come in, they charge, and they're successful. Watching the interactions of the customers. We had a gentleman doing calisthenics out in the parking lot the other day, and people walking their dogs. It takes about 15 to 20 minutes to get a full charge on a fast charger, and we don't have any other amenities because it's a test facility. But people are finding us, and they are, and sharing that sentiment back with our customers and partners is really important for them to have better products to sell, to make better decisions about what they're going to buy, and then to help them to maintain that after all of those decisions have been made.
So can you talk about the lessons, Miller Electric learned in building this project and about the customer's point of view?
Sure. It's really, we, again, as a traditional electrical contractor, our customers traditionally know exactly what they want. They procure our services. And again, hopefully we'll be there forever to help them service whatever it is that we've installed for them. And so as we were putting together the Innovation Design Center, we found out how tough this whole new marketplace really is in terms of the disruption to your parking lot, the disruption to your business. What could we do as a contractor to make it easier for you, safer for our employees, to give you one place to go to help you not only make that decision, engineer it, design it, install it, and help you maintain it? And what we found was it's really, really frustrating and not as easily said, or not as easily done as it is said. And then, interestingly enough, what we also found was their customers' journey. So, usually we work directly with our customer always, but our customers now have customers. It's either their tenants, it's their customers. They're trying to make money, they're trying to sell cars, they're trying to convert a fleet. And now the fleet manager is meeting the facility manager for probably the first time ever. So your fleet managers have very different needs than your facility managers. You have to have a great relationship with your utility. And we found that that's really, really difficult for our customers. Now that we watch their customers come and try to charge, and understanding that customer sentiment, what is the lighting like? What is the security like, or a perceived security like? What other information do you want to know from those customers to make sure that they're happy? If you're just providing level 2 charging, that they will come back to you if you're trying to make money off of it, or that if you provide ease of use for them so that you can sell more of your cars and people don't have range anxiety anymore. And watching how these customers behave. So a lot of it right now is visual, but we've created a survey tool so that while they're there for 15 or 20 minutes charging, instead of doing calisthenics or walking their dog, we're trying to get them to take just a quick survey about what their experience is. And we're also going to be filming, sort of like man on the street, like a mini podcast, Todd. We'll be interviewing these folks while they're there charging, to talk about their experience. How did you find us? Why did you select this charger? What has been your experience to date? What we found by just stopping out there and not necessarily recording is that we've got a lot of people that have rental cars and they don't know what to do before they take it back. And they find us on crowd sharing software platforms like, I can't think of one right now because I want to, but they'll find us and they come into this office park and ask them, do you feel safe? How did you find us? Why are you here? And we find a lot of people that have rented a car there, and it's for business, and we're in a large business park. That's where this design center is. It would not be easy to find, probably even on a map, but they guide right in there, and we find that most of our chargers are being used actively on a daily basis, and people's journey there is pretty fascinating. So we've gotten to know what our customers have to deal with. How do they collect money, right? These software platforms can be very, very difficult and maybe unreliable. How much do they get charged for energy? Because these chargers, the fast ones, take a lot of energy from the grid. Do they get charged peak pricing from their utility? And how do you use energy management software to help peak shave so that you don't get a huge electric bill at the end of the month, quite unexpectedly, whether you're trying to make money off of the charger or you're just trying to provide a service or you're trying to charge up your fleet? So we just learned a lot of things about our customers and our customers' customers.
Interesting. Yeah. I mean, a couple questions come out of this. Do you plan on sharing some of that with potential customers or customers? Like, kind of here are some of the lessons we're learning, to kind of educate them. Yeah.
We're documenting it all along the way from our trade professionals that are actually doing the installations. What did you find was difficult about either installing or commissioning the software? Where have we seen the most issues to date? and we're logging everything that we can. And not only are we collecting data from anything that emits data from our parking lot, we are actually logging electrical contractor sentiment. This is what we found, right? This is what we've. These were really easy to install. The manufacturer's been very responsive. The software that works with it has been terrific. Customers really seem to like it, and we are sharing all of that data with the manufacturers, with future customers, with current customers. That's part of the point, is so that we can all learn together.
Yeah, so I would assume that some of this is, as you kind of mentioned, but learning about the installation process itself. I mean, obviously you can learn about the installation process if you installed it at someone's business, but it seems like you just have a little bit more of a handle because it's your people doing the work on your property, and you can just talk more about it and kind of see how it works. I mean, yeah, this thing never can connect here or whatever. I don't know, whatever the problem might be. So yeah, it's interesting. Do you charge for the charging at your place, or
we do?
Okay, interesting.
We have cool. We have 16 other level 2, the slower chargers for employees, and employees don't get charged for them. If a member of the public were to find those, they would get charged a small amount. But what we know is that if we weren't charging for the charging, we wouldn't get good customer sentiment data. Because when we first went online in November of 2023, so just a few months ago, we didn't have all of the payment platforms set up yet. So the chargers were working and they were charging, and the ones that we didn't have a charging platform for collection of money were by far the most popular chargers. And now that there is a level price and playing field in terms of software on all of the fast chargers, we're really starting to see which ones are truly being used the most for reasons that are other than the cost to use them.
Okay. I'm curious. So you have many different manufacturers of chargers on there, correct? Right. You just got a lot of the names that people probably know if they know that market. Are they labeled Miller or EV Solutions? Or are they labeled, XYZ manufacturer, ABC manufacturer? I'm just curious.
They are labeled XYZ manufacturer.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah. I mean, the data could be really kind of fun to kind of crunch down and start to kind of look at over time. So that'll be interesting. All right. So you've learned, and you're sharing some of these lessons you've learned in construction, probably really with your customers too, because you can kind of help them avoid hurdles and, hey, did you think about this? And, kind of some of those things. But what are some of we just talked about data. So what are the data points and lessons that you're looking to learn as you move forward?
For Miller, one of our main objectives is to become a 24/7 remote, have 24/7 remote monitoring capabilities, and to be able to see, regardless of the manufacturer, regardless of the geography, what's going on with that unit on behalf of our customers. Because there are going to be thousands of these deployed across the country. And so for us, our gold standard is to get to not only 24/7 monitoring, but to get to predictive analytics, predictive maintenance, so that we know whether it is a voltage signal that gets sent, if there's data coming from the meter between our site and the utility, if there's this one model that in hot weather, it always, it always fails. We don't know what we're going to find yet, but the goal is to get to that predictive maintenance capability that we know we can get there to. So for us, Miller, selfishly, that's one of the things that we're studying in order to get to provide that sort of nationwide 24/7 coverage at scale. For our customers, it is really, we're trying to pull the data to help them make the best decisions. It's all the way back to our why. Like when we first started this, we found that our customers didn't know what they didn't know, and they didn't know what they were doing. They were making decisions about vehicles. They were making decisions about chargers that didn't make sense for their why. And we will now have the data to say to a fleet manager, have you talked to your facility manager? Because this is what it's going to do to the electric bill. we're going to have to tear up your parking lot for 6 to 8 weeks. You're going to lose 20 parking spaces in this installation. And then to be able to demonstrate how we can eliminate or alleviate a lot of those issues on the front end. So a lot of data collection to be disseminated based on what our customers want.
Are you doing tours and training at this facility, or plan to in the future for outside of Miller people?
We actually had our first class of 20 facility managers for one of our biggest commercial real estate partners and customers that came into the building a couple of weeks ago to learn how to commission and maintain one particular manufacturer that they have standardized on all of their commercial properties. So it just made sense to do that kind of training for that specific manufacturer. We have plans to do training for our own trade professionals on how to do installation and commissioning and then maintenance on all of the different manufacturers that we have there. And then tours, we did 3 tours on Monday alone this week, and it's Wednesday that I'm talking to you for your listeners. So we probably do 4 to 5 tours a week. We had a major university come in this week to take a look at it. We had a major global technology company that has a large sustainability footprint and goal. Their head of global sustainability came to tour it this week. We have large fleet owners that have been brought through. We have charging manufacturers that have done a walkthrough. A lot of automobile passenger vehicle manufacturers, names that every one of your listeners would recognize, that have learned that in order to sell more electric vehicles, they are going to have to get in the charging game themselves. It's much like the Tesla model. I think Elon Musk was brilliant in that he built a charging network to sell cars. He and Tesla now recognize that's not a bad business to be in. These other manufacturers now understand that, and they're investing heavily in infrastructure that they recognize that the federal government is never going to be able to build enough or fast enough for the type of manufacturing they want to do. So we've had lots of automobile manufacturers and autonomous vehicle manufacturers have come through to take a look at what's happening at the EVIDC. So tours is the biggest part of the business right now. Training is going to start to really ramp up coming soon.
So are there other technologies you're looking at? I guess I should ask, one of the things I've kind of come across in my research around this topic is that, the utilities are struggling, the public utilities and co-ops and whatever are struggling to get build this stuff out to support, especially larger, not maybe at my house, but at larger facilities and stuff. So, just build outs and how you're going to power them and things like that. So are you looking at other technologies around it, or is it just the posts? I don't even know what the right term is. Just the EV charging posts, or is it more to it?
Well, there's really so much more to it. And you are right. In whatever part of the country that your listeners are in, it will vary as to whether these utilities, these grids are ready for these big mega sites that Tesla's building, or even just a 10 stall fast charging unit could draw down a lot of energy in a space that may not be convenient for that utility. So the utility itself may have enough generation capacity in their entire grid, but maybe not on that road on that corner, because it was built for a gas station, and a gas station does not pull that much energy, which is kind of funny, but it doesn't. So phase 2 of the Electric Vehicle Innovation Design Center, which we hope to have complete by this summer, June or July, we are going to start looking at alternative energy sources. So we're going to have a solar canopy in the parking lot. We're going to have battery storage. We're going to have backup generation, which is a big issue for a lot of our fleet customers, and that will be hydrogen powered. So it won't be necessary to have a big diesel generator for backup power. So we're going to have a hydrogen power backup. And then the most interesting piece that we're going to have in our parking lot will be the first in Florida, and that's a microgrid system that will manage all of this. It'll manage the current phase one and all of those chargers that we've been talking about, but also now, where does the energy come from? Is it cheapest to pull it from the grid, from your utility? Or is it, there's going to be a peak charge if we charge at this time of day? How can we use the energy that's stored in the battery? How can we pull energy that's directly from the solar panels? How do we know when we need backup generation and we need a little boost, and we would then pull in the hydrogen fuel cell? So that microgrid solution will manage all of that for us. And those are the kind of solutions that we are already talking to our customers about, especially large fleet installations that it might be 2 or 3 years out before their utility can bring them the type of energy that they really need, or the amount of energy, not the type of energy. So we are absolutely looking at all of these different alternatives and ways for our customers to really be able to manage their transition.
It seems like you kind of brought this up, but it's not just a matter of the energy, like having the energy and producing it, but just even getting the people out there to run the power to it. I mean, you may have it, the
Right.
capacity, but can they get to it? And like you said, I think it depends on where you are. Like probably where you are, there's probably a lot more, where there's high growth, obviously it's going to be tougher to get that. So many areas of Miller Electric were involved in this project, and I've spent some time with your VDC virtual design and construction teams in the past at other functions, and not related with the podcast. And I'm curious if there was a role with prefab or VDC in this work, and any lessons you learned there.
Such a significant role. And one of the things that we have been innovating in is the VDC BIM space. And prefab is obviously the result of those two processes. And so we've created a skid solution. So we've manufactured an actual skid where we mount the chargers to the skid. And so, and again, we've been in the prefab business for quite some time, but actually taking it down to such a small scale where we would actually take 4 charging units and the cabinet, the power cabinet that needs to go with it, mount it on a skid, drop it, take it directly to the site, and drop it in the ground. So what's the big deal there? Well, the big deal is we talked about parking lots being torn up for a long period of time. If we can plan, and we did with the EVIDC months in advance, we can prefab every bit of conduit and everything that goes under the ground before it goes to the site, and then have this skid solution that once everything is in the ground, the asphalt's been paved again, we can bring in the skid and drop it in. We can take a 9-week project and turn it into a 2-week project, which is huge for our customers that really don't want their parking lot disrupted. So our BIM and VDC guys, our prefab guys, they took, I can't tell you how big, I wish I could remember how many square feet our EVIDC is, but it's enormous. It's really big. You'll be able to pull transit buses, you'll be able to pull semi-tractor trailers into it. It's got that kind of turning radius. You can imagine how big this space is in our parking lot. Well, our BIM VDC guys did all of the underground work, and it took them 4-6 weeks to do that work, dropped everything in the ground in 8 hours in one day. Significant savings in time, much safer environment for our trade professionals and any other professionals, that might be on those sites, and least amount of disruption possible. So yeah, those men and women have been fantastic, and not only for the EVIDC, but deploying these skid solutions around the country for our customers. We're now mounting bollards and trash cans and lighting and Wi-Fi and security cameras on these skids. And then they leave one of our prefab facilities around the country, and they get shipped directly to the site, ready to go. Trash cans, lights, security, Wi-Fi, and the chargers too.
That's awesome. I love the world of VDC and kind of where it's going and construction is going and that kind of thing. I just think is great. The quicker we can get things in, the better. So what do the
Right.
next few months look like up to that first year anniversary, and then kind of maybe the next year out? Kind of what are you hoping to achieve and get done that you can share and share with the group?
So we cut a ribbon, as you mentioned, on November 17th. So we are looking at doing a full report out on 6 months lessons learned, and with our partners. So right now we're gathering, what information do you want to know? Here's the
Mm.
data that we have, but what information do you want to know from this data? And our goal is at the 6 month mark to say, here's where we are, here's what we've learned, and then to turn that into a public facing, have it on our website, put it into a report that's really easy for our partners, our customers to understand. And then by this same point, we will be actively installing phase two, which is the solar canopy, the battery storage,
Mm.
the microgrid, and the hydrogen fuel cell. So 6 month review, here's what we've learned. What else can we know? Um,
Mhm.
Hopefully having perfected data collection and keeping it clean so that whatever someone wants to know, we'll have the appropriate data to allow them to understand and make better decisions. And then we're very quickly getting started on phase two because we can't wait to learn what we're going to learn there. One of the things too, Todd, I think I know I failed to mention, phase two will have an induction charging
Oh, okay.
installed.
Wow.
And we have done inductive charging in the past. We've done a couple of universities for their intra-campus bus systems, and they're those odd sort of canopy things that hang over the bus stops that do inductive charging while they're idling. They get a little bit of charge, and they do on route charging, doing it that way. We're working with a company now, and this is going to be in the ground. So you would pull your car or your vehicle over the charger, and you get a fast charge, um, and you don't have to get out of the vehicle at all.
Wow.
So that's another technology that we will have in phase two that we're very excited about better understanding.
Be nice in those August Jacksonville days and those
Yeah.
January Minnesota days.
Yes.
Um, Kerri, I appreciate all the information you've shared. This is great. I mean, I've learned so much talking with you. I do like to close out the conversations by refocusing on the why of what we do. So, what motivates you day in and day out to do this? What keeps you excited and passionate about the work you do?
We are watching a transportation or transit mobility transition like we would never be able to see in a lifetime, much less in a decade. And to be a part of it, not only watching it happen, but being able to be a part of it is really what gets me up every day. I mean, it's super exciting, ever changing, lots to learn every day. And we're watching this whole transformation happen right before our eyes in real time, in really close time, too. Um, that's for me, it's something that monumental that's happening all around the world at almost the same time. Not only do we get to watch it, we get to be a part of it.
Yeah, yeah, it's an exciting industry to be a part of and looking at and learning about. So, Kerri, thank you so much for being here. I know you got a lot of stuff going on. You got a lot of tours to do.
Yeah, a
So
lot of tours.
a lot of tours. But it's been great having you on the show. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, that was my conversation with Kerri Stewart, Chief Strategy Officer and President of Miller EV Solutions at Miller Electric. You can connect with Kerri and what's happening at the EV Center and Miller Electric by going to the links in the show notes. I sure hope our conversation has inspired you to look at ways you can improve your company and industry through innovation and design. Thanks for listening to this episode of Keeping the Lights On. We'll see you next time.